WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have a whiskey from Australia, Starward, the fourth in my series now, and this is called Dolce. Dolce, of course, is sweet, Latin, Italian, Dolce, and this is a single malt Australian whiskey, and this is from the Starward Whiskey Projects. I'd like to just show you the little emblem here, Projects, yay! So 2016 is when this was distilled, 2020 is when it was bottled. This costs, believe me or not, this is a half-liter bottle. This is 80 euros. This is 160 euros per liter. This is not exactly, but it feels like it's more than the Macallan 18. Not exactly, but this is so expensive. This is absolutely disturbingly expensive. All right, Whiskybase number 169494. And yes, 4,800 bottles worldwide. Sold out in Australia, still available in Germany for some reason. I'm not really sure if there is a big market for 4-year-old whiskey going for 80 euros for 0.5 liters. Sorry, just totally out of my normal league. All right, what is this? This is an Australian whiskey, which means they used Australian barley. Yay! They used red wine, Australian red wine casks. Yay! Made usually from American wood, but hey, stored beforehand Australian red wine in there. Usually Cabernet and Shiraz. And then what they did is they took that out and put it into a couple different barrels of I'm going to read this, a matured and dessert wine barrels. Now, these dessert wine is just like the Apera, what we have in Australia, which is similar to the fortified sherried wines that we have in Spanish. You can't call them sherry. They do call port in California port, even though it is a geographical indicator for products only made in Portugal in a certain region there. So if they sold them outside of the U.S., they could not call those special things made in California port because that is a protected name, just like champagne is a protected name and so on. And so also Marsala is actually the type of product they're trying to imitate here, which is a dessert wine from Sicilian. The bottom, Italy, the little island at the toe, at the foot, Sicily, Sicilia. Sicilia is more of my Sicily. Yes, exactly. More of my German coming through in there. All right, very, very good. So this is basically then finished in a dessert wine cask. Should be extremely sweet, right? All right, I'm going to compare it to something else from Australia, the Starward. This is the Fortis. This is batch number 2. This was matured in American oak red wine barrels. For me, this is a cherry lollipop. Artificial cherry lollipop. A little bit like cherry Kool-Aid as well. I was explaining my other video about Kool-Aid, and then I realized, idiot Jason, we don't have Kool-Aid in Germany. They had something that was a concentrated type of juice. They had a bottle, and they'd actually squirt some of this into a pot of big water, and that would be with artificial flavoring and artificial sweetener and so on, and they just used it. I remember at my grandparents, we would make at least 1, if not 2, big jugs of Kool-Aid a day. Put 1 or 2 cups of sugar in there, have the water, put in the a little package, and ta-da! The Kool-Aid man would go through the wall, and so on. Part of my childhood. European, at least Germans, didn't have that childhood. They had a totally different thing. And this is always a problem with association, is when I talk about something, I talk about Kool-Aid and refer it to maybe even the cherry lollipop. Only the people who've actually had the exactly same experience know what I'm talking about. For example, many, 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 many Germans have never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We don't eat much peanut butter over here in Germany. Which is for Americans kind of like, how can you live without peanut butter and jelly? We eat Nutella over here. Many Americans of my age didn't have Nutella until they were 30 or 40. And now Nutella is part of that breakfast experience. And so on and so on and so on. So when I say Kool-Aid, you in America, maybe even England, know what I'm talking about, but other people might not in Japan, China, or other places. All right, so this is very sweet. This is a high-pitched cherry sweetness. This is not. This is much deeper, darker, red cherry type of moment. I actually explain it the following way. If you've ever had orange marmalade from the UK, you know where they actually put the orange peel in the marmalade? Marmalade has more chunks, jelly has less chunks or no chunks. So it's actually called a marmalade, a jam, and there we actually have that bitter, almost sour moment. Imagine that same type of marmalade, jelly, not using orange, but rather using more of a dark cherry plum moment. And that's what I'm getting here. All right, it's very bitter. It's somewhat sour, and this is much, much sweeter. Hmm. Even though the name of this whiskey's sweetness, Dolce. The nose is not bad, actually. I like the nose, which kind of prepares you for my disappointment in a second. All right, cheers. Wow. It's heat, a lot of alcohol heat, and it really doesn't. There's a lot of fruitiness without sweetness. All right. Just like that orange marmalade, it's very, very fruity without any sweetness. Um, it's a dryness, a stringency. Um, I'm not a big fan of this. This is a C minus whiskey for me. By the way, the value for money is an F. 80 euros for a little half-liter bottle here. What happens is if you dilute it down a little bit, down to this is 48%, by the way. If you dilute it down to about 40%, it turns into a whiskey which is a little bit more of a roundedness, but the entire darkness, the entire mouth saliva suckingness of this whiskey, the astringencies, is toned down a little bit, but it's not a great project for me. I would not personally consider this a success. Other people might. Other people might just sold out in Australia. People like it apparently. I don't. It just doesn't. It's not my wheelhouse. It just doesn't push the buttons I need to experience this whiskey and go, oh, nice. Hmm. Diluting it down to like 40%, as I said, takes away a lot of the alcohol sharpness. It's still there a little bit. There is a dark red, dark cherry plum moment. This is a very artificial, a very, very high-pitched, sweet cherry, sour cherry. And this is more of a dark red, purple type of moment here. There is a foundation, there is a moment of sweetness that's there, especially with the water included. And yet it really just doesn't pick me up where I'm at and take me to someplace else. It just says hi, and I just kind of go hi and just keeps on walking on, and I walk the other way. This takes me a little bit of a journey and takes me along for a couple minutes at least, and I go, oh yeah, that's interesting, blah 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 blah. But this we just encounter and pass by. We're talking at cross purposes basically here. All right. It says here. Can I read anything? It says here dried fruit, toasted marshmallow, cola. Oh, I didn't get any cola. I had a different whiskey the other time that was very, very much just cola, but I didn't get any cola there. All right, good, interesting. Cola. Like a cherry Coke? Hmm. All right, dried fruits I go with. Toasted marshmallows, I don't know. All right, good. All right, my question of the day is what other whiskeys do you know that have had a dessert wine finish? Dessert wines for me would be, for example, a Marsala wine, Amarone wine would be a dessert wine. For me, Armagnac could be a dessert wine. Any other dessert wines you might have? Port's for me, dessert wine. So what other whiskeys do you know with a good, maybe even it says on it, dessert wine? There's so many different things out there that we can try at the moment. It's amazing, and it's very, very widening of your horizons outside of the whiskey world to see what type of things actually are matured in barrels that we can use those barrels afterwards for whiskey. Starward, I applaud you for using local ingredients, local barley, local casks, local different types of wine casks. Well done. Keep up that good work. I'm not sure if we're always going to be on the same wavelength with the flavor profiles, but hey, I might not be your target customer. Let's say that. 4 whiskeys in total. I had the Berry Brothers and Rudd, which was a big disappointment. I don't know who picked that out, but Solera was a little bit hot. And this was actually a little bit sweet and very, very, very singular in its taste profile. Not bad, different, nah, too expensive. All right, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for sharing, telling other people about this crazy guy over here in Europe tasting whiskey you'll probably never ever see. But hey, that's sometimes the fear of missing out is something you can watch this channel a lot and maybe reduce that moment, because you'll often never ever see the whiskeys I get to have the chance to get my hands on over here. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Whiskey Jason. Bye.